Okay guys, welcome and thank you for joining me in another one of my videos. If you were around in the sort of the early to mid 80s, had a computer, whether it was an 8-bit or 16-bit, you'd have been aware that Ocean Software, who were, primarily, they were a UK based software company, they latched on to the fact that if you license a movie title and turn it into a game, you're going to make yourself pots and pots of cash. Unfortunately, most of the games that they released were pretty good. I mean, RoboCop in particular apparently sold. I mean, I think it was in the charts for something like 2 years, but the quality of these games was very, very good. And so yeah, there was a lot of titles put out. Hudson Hawk, that wasn't one of the better ones, but largely it proved to be very, very successful for Ocean. So yeah, you'd think why not apply the same logic to TV programs, and some companies did. So what this video is all about, it's going to look at some video games that were basically based on TV programs. Now, yeah, were they going to be as popular as the films? We shall find out, so let's take a look. Right, first up on the Commodore 64 is a game called Buzzle Dan Born. Now, back in the sort of early 80s, mid 80s, I can't remember exactly when it was, there was a comedian, and I use the term very loosely, called Russ Abbott, and he had a programme on sort of mainstream TV. It's your typical Saturday night fare, 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. I mean, you need to bear in mind this was before cable TV, so we had like 4 channels. And yeah, Russ Abbott had this, it was a kind of comedy sketch show, different characters. Now, this was one of the characters, a character called Buzzle Dan Born. Now, Buzzle Dan Born is actually a type of writing paper. And obviously the connection with the word Bond, they thought it would be hugely entertaining to make a sketch out of it. Now, when you hold down the fire button, you get Superman passes overhead. Quite what the relevance of that, I've got no idea, but I do remember there being a Superman character in the programme. What relevance it was, or how it fitted into the rest of the thing, I've got no idea, but it is there, yeah. I don't know what that thing is at the top, the glasses and the spinning eyes. I've got no idea what that is. Zap64 did review the game and they absolutely panned this, and quite rightly so. I mean, it's blocky graphics. The actual game, I mean, the font as well as your built-in Commodore 64 font, so they didn't make any real effort to try and make it look particularly nice. But it's your standard sort of arcade adventure fare. Pick up a key, go to another room, drop that, pick up something else. You know the score. So yeah, I've got to say, the actual animation of the guy running is quite impressive. It's quite smooth. But that's about all I can really say about this game. Never played it back in the day. Like I said, it got panned by Zap, and that was enough for me. So yeah, that was Buzzle Dan Born. Right, next up, Auf Wiedersehen Pet. Now, that Auf Wiedersehen Pet was a TV series. It started, it was either, I think it was the very, very early 80s. And it was basically, it was a kind of comedy, black comedy, based around a group of bricklayers, joiners, who, due to the unemployment in the UK, it was Margaret Thatcher's Britain, unemployment was through the roof. Guys like, bricklayers, tradesmen, there wasn't very much work for them because, the construction industry was on its knees. So a lot of these guys went abroad. They went to places like Germany, where, sort of these industries were still booming. And this programme was basically following the exploits of about, 6 guys. Most of them were from Newcastle, but there was a couple of guys. There was one guy from London and there was one guy from Birmingham. I think there was one guy called Bobber who was from, I think, like Devon, something like that, Cornwall, certainly down that neck of the woods. The main kind of character, the character that most people remember There's a guy called Oz, played by Jimmy Nail, who went on to actually have a pop career, believe it or not. He had actually quite a good sort of country and western voice. But anyway, Oz, he was your stereotypical Geordie. You know, he liked to drink, he was quite racist, he was always getting into fights and whatnot. So he was the character that most people remember, and it looks like this game is based on the exploits of Oz. So this is level 1, another day dawns at a typical Dusseldorf building site, I'm guessing that's going to say. Right, presumably you've got to try and build a wall. Well, first impressions aren't the greatest. It looks like they're using the computer generated graphics. Dear. I mean, look at it, seriously, that is just awful. You need to remember, this was a full price game. You know, if you typed this game in, you'd have felt pretty cheated, but this was actually a full price game. And you can see there, I'm convinced this is written in BASIC. I mean, I don't know what the hell it's actually trying to do here. It's drawing something. I'll just need to wait and see. This is Dusseldorf by night, and as the lights go on all over the city, Oz goes off. I did catch what that was going to be. Beer Keller, right, I did speak enough German to suss out we're now in a pub. I don't know why he's going up in a lift. Right, I don't know what the yellow things are. Are they tables? I presume the red things are people. Oh, dearie me. Just remember, the next time you criticise the latest Call of Duty for being rubbish, just think of this game. This is some of the shite that we had to play back in the 80s. Right, what are we doing here? Right, are these like lampposts or something? Are these police cars? Right, I'm assuming we've got to try and get to the top of the screen. I don't know. I mean, listen to this sound. I mean, you think about what, like Monty on the Run, and listen to this sound. That's just awful. Wait and watch. Right, I'm assuming the lights are going out, and that's why it's going to be dark. So you've got to try and remember how to get back. Dear me, that's an awful, awful game. I think that game actually needs its own video with possibly the worst game ever. That is atrocious. Auf Wiedersehen, pet. Right, next up, this is Blockbusters. Now, I actually really enjoyed this. It was a quiz show for school children. The questions weren't that easy, but it had quite I can never say that word, innovative. You've basically, there's 2 players. In fact, no, it wasn't 2 players. It was 3 players. There was a team of 2 and a team of 1. And basically you had to try, the player who was on his own had to try and get from the top to the bottom. So he would be blue, so you had to basically get 4 questions right. The team of 2 had to get from left to right, they were red. You can see there, they've got to answer 5 questions. So basically when you get a question right, that it's going to say square, what is it, a diamond shaped thing, that or hexagon is it? That would fill in your colour, and once you get a connecting line across the screen, then you basically you win that round. But it was actually quite a good TV programme, and I did actually have this. I got a copy of it actually, and it was actually quite good. The only thing that put me off this game was you had to load in questions. What T is the site between Fleet Street and the Thames occupied by lawyers since the 14th century? I've got no idea at all. Does anybody know the answer? No, I've got no idea. No, need to wait in the timer. So Bob Holness, that's a little chap at the bottom right. He was the presenter. Don't know if he's still alive. I think he is, or is he? I don't know. it's funny when you see people, or you remember people from TV programmes, because they're no longer on TV, you then don't know if they're still alive or not. What S sang Baby Love? Baby Love, Sugar Baby. Is that the right one? I don't know if that's the same song. Supremes. I was half right. It was began with an S. And of course, the really witty thing is, well, any contestant had to ask Bob Holness for a letter, so he would say, "Can I have a K, please, Bob?" And of course, there was all matter of hee-hawing when somebody says, "Can I have a P, please, Bob?" What is the first name of a Centurion Lord who died recently? I've got no idea. Can I have a right? So the computer got it right. What G is a general feeling of disorientation and fatigue as a result of, well, that'll be jet lag, won't it? Right, so I've got a red one there. Now it's up to me. What shall we go for? Why is it close enough? Alright, okay, because I didn't put a space in here. Let's go for a Y. What Y is there a public wash by the Adriatic Sea? Yugoslavia. Right, okay. Can I have a U, please, Bob? What U is a bone in the forearm? Oh man, I used to be quite good at not geography, biology as well. See, there's quite difficult questions actually to all know. What K is the name for the absolute zero? Kelvin, I think it is. Hey. And I never even did physics either. What F is the first page of a newspaper? We're all, what about the front page? Some of them are slightly too obvious. What D became Lord Beaconsfield? I have got no idea. Seriously. Disraeli. So yeah, I mean this game wasn't actually too bad. You know, I wouldn't say that quiz programs are ideally suited to a computer, but you know, the fact that you're able to replicate this sort of the scoreboard's quite good. Though the biggest problem with these quiz games, especially in the 8-bit, was lack of questions. I mean, it was all tape. I don't know if this game came out in disc. You know, you know, obviously the memory as well was tiny, so very, very quickly you would get a repetition of questions. Why is it ordered in classics? I has scrolled. I've got no idea. But yeah, so you know, once you started to get repeat questions, then the game was pretty much over. I think some of these games, I don't know if this was one of them. I know like Trivial Pursuit, which was massively popular in the 90s. There was a lot of different computer versions of Trivial Pursuit. They brought out like extra questions and that kind of stuff. I don't know if this game ever had them. What are the grades of Uncut Diamond? Yeah, Rough Diamond, of course it is. I'll just see if we can win. Or the first one to win, then we'll move on. What G is official robe? A gown, obviously, of a university graduate. Humphreys? I've got no idea. Christmas. Right, anyway, listen, that's enough of that. That is Blockbusters, and that's actually not bad. Right, next up is Bullseye. Now, I did actually feature this game in a recent Dart video I put out. Bullseye was a massive popular quiz show which ran from the very early 80s right through, I think it ran into the 90s. In fact, it did run into the 90s, I know that for a fact. Now, the presenter was a guy called Jim Bone, who actually sadly passed away just a few months ago. Now I have, like I said, I played this game a few weeks ago when I was making my dart video, and it's not the greatest interface. You've got to say in there, MAME. I've got to aim for books, and I've missed. Right, I've hit B, history, press return. Yeah, basically it was a quiz where you had two players. One was a dart player, one was a sort of answered questions, and it was a series of different sort of questions and high scores at darts and that kind of stuff. Who succeeded de Gaulle as president of France? Or de Gaulle, I should say, sorry, it looks like a C. Right, so what are we going for? So we're going for A. Yeah, oddly, this game doesn't use the joystick. I've never really known many Commodore 64 games to not use a joystick. Given the joystick was built into the machine, it goes without saying it's going to use the joystick, but this one decided to not do it, and I've missed. Oh, I did, I got it. 50 points. How many rode into the shadow of death in Tennyson's poem? I've got no idea. Right, so I'm going for C. Yeah, you can't even move the hand up. Basically, you move left and right, and then depending on the strength determines the height of the dart. So it's not the greatest. Out the board. History, no, it's gone, so they can't even ask the question. Give himself a bigger area to hit. Hey, there we go. What is the male equivalent of a witch? That'll be a warlock. Right, so I'm guessing it's the highest score here, so let's try and aim for a treble 20. Ooh, close. Close, but no cigar. So yeah, it's alright. Like I says, I would never recommend getting a 8-bit computers were not really designed for quiz programs because the lack of questions. You're much better sticking to kind of board games and that kind of stuff. But I don't think you could really have done Bullseye as a board game unless you're a dartboard as well. So that was Bullseye. Right, next up is one of our American TV programs, The Dallas Quest. Now this was based on the massively successful TV program, which I don't know when it came out. It was certainly out sort of the 70s through the 80s. I mean, it was massive. That is the theme tune, not a particularly good version of it, I have to say, but I do remember my mum and dad watched it, or my dad didn't watch it, but my mum and sisters watched this. There was also plenty top birds that were in it, so even me as a 10-year-old, there was always plenty eye candy for people like myself to watch. So you can see there it's a arcade adventure. It's not an arcade adventure, it's an adventure game with graphics. I remember my mate gave me a copy of this, and I never played it. I wasn't interested in adventure games at all. See, this is the problem. You know, you could type stuff and you never understood what you were trying to say. I just got really frustrated with it. I mean, later on, games like, was it the Pawn and was it the Guilty Thieves, which came out for like the Atari ST and Commodore Amiga, they had really good, was it parser? I think that's the phrase we use, parser. Yeah, basically the words that it understands, you can string sentences together. I think, was it the, oh blimey, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, I think that was just a kind of text adventure. I think that had quite a good parser. But it wasn't long before, you know, graphics overtook games. I mean, if this game came out now, it would be a kind of first person adventure, you know, you wouldn't have any sort of text or that kind of stuff. But there were some people who loved these games. I wasn't one of them. The only adventure game I did like, and again it was because the music was just awesome, and that was Castle of Terror on the Commodore 64. That was an amazing game. You can see there's a lot of browns as well in this game, which kind of suits the Commodore 64. Yeah, for adventure types only, especially if they like the TV programme. So that is Dallas, or the Dallas Quest. Right, this was more my cup of tea, the young ones. Who can forget the young ones as a kid? I mean, this was when comedy changed. You know, they called it alternative comedy. You had guys like Ben Elton and Alexei Sale. Comedy became quite cheeky. I mean, this program, it was a collection of students. You had Rick Mayall. You had who played, what was this character again? I can't even remember the name of him actually. But yeah, it was the four characters: the hippie, the punk, the sort of anarchist who's played by Rick Mayall, and you had Mike, what was he called? Mike the nice person. I can't remember what he was called again, but there was three students plus Mike, and they all inhabited this flat. And yeah, the comedy was good. It was cutting edge. You always felt like you were living dangerously as a sort of teenager watching the young ones, because they always had bands on as well. They had like a band. I remember Madness. They were in the house playing, and they had loads of. They even had Motorhead. I always remember the one with Motorhead. So yeah, it was completely. It just grabbed comedy by the scruff of the neck. Prior to sort of the young ones, it was all your sort of variety Saturday night television with Jimmy Tarbuck and crap like that, and this was completely different, and it kind of set the scene for a lot of comedians to follow on. But anyway, get back to the game. Yeah, the TV programme was great, but sadly the game was pretty awful. As you can see there, it's kind of it's an adventure. I mean, you don't get to physically move the characters. You can pick, I think you can pick who you're going to be, I don't know. But you just basically use a little menu where you want to go. I mean, some of the crap that it comes out with, I mean, you'll see the other characters, they kind of wander about. Hey guys, I think I'm going to open the bed. What is that all about? I think I'm going to close the bed. It didn't make any sense. So yeah, you can pick stuff up, you can drop things, you can go to different rooms. It was a pretty god awful game. I mean, it could have been a good game. Even the graphics. I mean, this is the Spectrum one. The graphics could have been better, but yeah, the actual type of game they picked just wasn't the best. Which was a shame, because the TV programme was really good. I actually recently just got it on DVD, believe it or not. Yeah, to make it interesting, I'll pick up the hand. It's just nonsense, it really was. So anyway, that was Young Ones. Not a good game at all. Right, next up was Knight Rider. Oh, this is on the couple. The one I'm going to show you is going to be the Spectrum, but yeah, released by Ocean. Now I think Knight Rider was one of these games where it was getting advertised months before
it was even written. I don't think I'm sure Gary Bracey told me that. They were advertising it. There was this, and there was another one again. I can't remember what it was. The game wasn't even out, and they were advertising it. And I think the game eventually appeared, and it wasn't particularly good. This is the first time I've ever loaded Knight Rider. Never played it at all. And like I say, this is on the Spectrum, this one. Now in this particular level, you're kind of using the joystick, you're controlling that crosshair. Are you driving along a road as well? I'm not quite sure. I think you are. You know, I mean, a game, a talking car, it should have been some kind of really exciting race game. They probably should have gone for some like overhead view. You know, I don't know, a bit like Grand Theft Auto, the original one. Well, Grand Theft Auto was about 20 years after this game, but yeah, it's not the greatest. Virtually a complete lackey sound almost. I'm assuming there must be other levels. Scuds, 240 miles an hour. Damage laser, yeah, don't know. But I do know that this game was pretty much panned by like the magazines back in the day, Computer and Video Games and Crash, and quite rightly so, because it's pretty awful. So that was Knight Rider. Right, next up, Minder by DK-Tronics. Now, Minder was a TV programme. It was broadcast in the UK, and it was, again, it was a kind of comedy. There was a guy who was like a wheeler and dealer. Think of like Del Boy out of Only Fools and Horses. But yeah, he was a kind of wheeler and dealer, and the guy, Dennis Waterman, he played this guy's minder. Basically, he was like the hard man who'd go around and extort money and whatnot. So yeah, this is the game. It appears to have only been released in the Spectrum. Maybe they realised it was utter shit. You don't seem to have any control over what you're doing. So I'm on at day 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's kind of a graphical type adventure, similar to the young ones. That's what they seem to do, a lot of these TV programmes. They turn them into kind of adventure games, which ultimately meant they were pretty damn dull. I've got no idea what I'm doing here. The Winchester Club, Terry's flat. Yeah, pretty woeful stuff. I think we're still waiting on a good game to appear. Right, so it's going to be 6, because that's the only one that's got summed in it. Foam lockup. I don't know. Right, I'm in the pub. So who can I pick? Possibly help if you had instructions and you actually knew what you're supposed to be doing, like, but you can see it's pretty dull stuff. Like we always say, yeah, I love the classic computer games, but a lot of them are absolutely garbage. and I'm afraid this is one of them. So yeah, that was Minder, and yeah, that was just released in the Spectrum. Right, next one, Neighbours, based on that there Australian soap. Now I did feature this very game in a video a good few years ago. I'm sure it seemed like a good idea to developers, thinking, yeah, let's, you know, Neighbours is super popular, let's make a video game. But just because a pint of beer is a really popular drink, you're not going to make a video game about it. And you know, the same should apply for stuff like this. So yeah, this one you play the part of a skateboarder. I don't know who you're supposed to be. Probably Kylie Minogue. We don't really know. And it's forcing me to use the keys here. I don't actually have any score either, so I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to be doing. This is woeful, but I've got to say, compared to what we've looked at least this is a tiny bit fun. 1991, so this was a really late game, so this was about 8 years after the other games written off. Oh, excuse me. Position, what does that say? Position 2, lap 1. So is it some sort of race? Am I racing somebody? I've got no idea. Even though I'm going through these things, I don't seem to be getting any points. A complete lack of sound. To me, that's just lazy programming. Why couldn't they put some sound in? Now, I don't know if there's any other levels to this game. I don't know if this is the game. I've got no idea who that's supposed to be. But whatever it is, it's just taking a lot of my energy away. Yeah, it's pretty bad. That is Neighbours. Certainly a lot better than what we've seen, but it's still on its own, it's pish. Oh dearie me, we're really digging the bottom of the barrel now. Super Gran, yeah, it was a TV programme based on a programme called Super Gran, which came out mid-80s, I think it was. I never watched it because I was growing up at that point. But it was god awful. Oh, dearie me. I mean, seriously, look at the graphics, they're just awful. Right, I'm controlling this sort of purple, I don't know what you'd even call it, spaceship person on a bike. I don't know, I'm assuming you're Super Gran. And you're kind of dropping bombs on other Grans, I'm assuming. Dearie me. Now I think this was the company that made the Alf Wiedersehen pet, so we probably shouldn't have expected very much. Just awful. Just when you think you've reached the bottom of the barrel, something else comes along and just moves the barrier as to what is good or bad. Yeah, Super Gran, awful. Right, next up, Airwolf. Now at least this is not a bad little game. This was released by Elite. I think it was 1984, 1985, can't remember. Got great music, I love the music to this game. Now the sad thing about this game is, what spoiled it was just too difficult. You've got the inertia, not the inertia, you've got gravity. So you've constantly got to hold the joystick up to stop the helicopter falling. Now, I can't remember for the life of me how I actually got off this level. But it's a shame because graphically it's actually nice. It's got good music. Don't know why they've got a picture of the Spectrum at the bottom right enough, the bottom right hand side of the screen. I've no idea where they've got that. And they could have probably made the screen bigger. I mean, they're only taking up what 2/3 of the screen. They could have done away with the score. But yeah, from a technical point of view, it's actually quite nice. But they just made it too damn difficult. If they changed the difficulty, this should have actually been quite a good game. It does remind me very much of Fort Apocalypse, which is an awesome game by is it Synapse Software, I think it was. Can't remember exactly. Now, I thought if you shoot that little thing there, it opens up, but apparently not. It doesn't look like I'm going to get off this little bit of the level. It's a game I should probably play at some point with a cheat mode on, so I can finally complete it. I don't think I ever really got any further than about second screen written off, so. But yeah, shame, that could have been a good game. That was Airwolf. Right, next one up is Automind. I was never into science fiction or sci-fi or anything like that at all, but I do remember this. I think it was very, very short-lived. I've got no idea what it was. It's basically jumping on the sort of the Tron, the bandwagon. Dearie me. Yep, I'm controlling that little stick guy. Now this is unforgivable. It really is. I mean, we're talking a Commodore 64 here. A computer that could do stuff like Iridium or Mission Impossible, you know. And look at it. This looks like something you'd got in the VIC-20. Just terrible. I've got no idea what I'm meant to be doing here. I don't know anything about the program, but if I can only imagine the program wasn't as bad as this. This is just awful. Tell you one good thing about doing this video, I've certainly discovered quite a few games that I could feature in the possibly the worst game ever. You know, you compare something like Manic Miner or Monty Run to this, just absolutely woeful. I mean, why is it animation with him running when he's going up a ladder? And listening to music, I mean, that would drive you daft. You would have to turn that down after about 2 minutes of listening to it. If they'd spent less time working on a font at the bottom, I mean, it's got kind of computery font, and more time in the graphics and the actual gameplay. Now, does this remind you of a game by Matthew Smith, perchance? Yeah, I was thinking the same thing myself, but it's not a patch in it. So that was awful. That was Automind. Next up was Max Headroom. Now, Max Headroom was quite a bizarre program. I never watched it again, but the guy who kind of, it was like, he was like the sort of the TV presenter. Although it was a real guy, it was like kind of CGI, so it was like a computer generated head, and he would stutter and whatnot. Quite a bizarre thing, very much of its time. Go into YouTube, have a look, Max Headroom. It was quite a bizarre thing. I don't know what the program was about, and never watched it, but it was massively popular. And again, they thought, well, let's bring out a game, Max Headroom the game. I remember playing this back in the day, and I couldn't figure out what I was meant to be doing. But the only standout thing of this game was the music. Quite a nice track. Was it by David Whittaker, I think? It kind of is like a mix between Icons Alright, okay, you go to that thing at the bottom that looks like a joypad and you can walk about. Again, this looks like a Spectrum game. I mean, you know, for a Commodore 64 game, it's just horrible. I mean, the movement of the wee guy running is quite good, but that's about all I can say. Yeah, just as bizarre as the TV programme, that was Max Headroom. Right, next up was a favourite of my dad and me. We used to watch this constantly back in the day, the Dukes of Hazzard. It was featured two twins. Were they twins? Yeah, they were twins, I think. And their cousin Daisy. She was always, I think she was the reason that most men watched this programme. She was very, very easy on the eye. But yeah, it was just daft. Basically, the two twins had this car called the General Lee, and they would get up to like silly things like, you know, buying moonshine, and they get caught with the police. It was kind of a comedy, but it was good fun. It was really good. But I don't think this came out on any other computer other than the Spectrum. Now, apologies about lacking being able to play it properly. It didn't seem to respond to the joystick, and the only buttons I could figure out was up and down and like fire. You're throwing. I don't know what that is you're throwing. But because I couldn't move left and right, I kept crashing. I mean, the whole premise of the game was kind of around, or not the game, the TV programme. I mean, there was a big part of it was the car. You know, the car. There was a lot of chases, car chases. It was kind of like Smokey and the Bandit, you know, but for TV. So I think they should have stuck to the car, you know, a car race, which I've kind of done here. Possibly if I could actually control it properly, it might be easier. I don't remember there being a helicopter right enough in the TV programme. Right, is that me broken down? That's the first time I've actually played that game. Yeah, graphically wise it is not bad, and like I said, it'd probably help if I could actually set up the controls properly. Right, this next one, dearie me, here we go, EastEnders. Now I think I did feature this in a video a few years back. I can't remember, or was it Neighbours? I can't remember. I know we're both awful. In fact, I remember this game actually. Your controls: A left, S right, W. Okay, released by Maxon Software. Never heard of them. Right, come on. Right, how do we start the game? Any key to play. Come on, let's go. It's coming back to me now. It's coming back. I'm getting flashbacks. Yes, it appears that is this the allotment, and you've got to try and cut flowers with a set of scissors. Using the keys to move. You've really got to wonder what possessed people who was writing this game to think that this was actually enjoyable. Yeah, you've got to cut the flowers or cut the heads off flowers or something. I don't know, I've not got any score. But this is just terrible. You know, and the fact that people were getting charged money for this. I mean, I never ever took back a game in my life because it was crap. I did buy a few stinkers, you know, in the Commodore 64, but it never crossed my mind that I could return a game because it was bad. But then, you know, you should be able to, because if you bought a kettle and it didn't heat the water properly or it leaked, you would take it back, get your money back, and it should be exactly the same with a video game. I mean, this isn't a game. I mean, seriously, what is this? Oh man, this is just awful. But I mean, I'm not a fan of EastEnders. I don't watch any soap programmes. I did watch EastEnders in the very early days. The very, very early days. But EastEnders, I mean, I can never quite figure out the appeal of soaps, especially something like EastEnders, where it's just depressing, it's dull, it's like, I don't know. Why would you want to watch a TV programme like this? So what would have possessed a company to think, yeah, let's get the EastEnders license and we'll be able to make a great game? I mean, what is this? I'm trying to feed a baby or something? Or is it a pillow? I don't know what it is. It's just terrible. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm actually getting quite angry with this. This is just, it is awful. It's not, you can't say it's a programming or anything like that. It's just the idea behind the game. What possessed somebody to think that this would be entertaining? I mean, look at it. Presumably that's some sort of market stall. Why are you a dwarf? You're only halfway up the height of the table. That's just terrible. Alright, I've had enough. That is absolutely awful. That was EastEnders. Right, come on Grange Hill, you need to do something here for us. Grange Hill, loved it. Watched it as a teenager. I mean, it went on for quite a number of years. I mean, I'm sure even when I was an adult, I still watched it. Not to the same extent, but you know, surely if any programme had a good basis for a video game, this would be one of them. I mean, think of School Days. That was an amazing game in the Spectrum. Never played this one. Ah, right, okay, Gonch. Right, he was one of the sort of later characters. I'd kind of moved on by this point. The ones I remember were like Tucker, and you had Zamo as well. Right, so what are we doing here? Alright, see, it's another one of these damned adventure-y type games. I don't know why you'd have thought they would have looked at previous games and thought, these games don't work, these games are terrible. It's possibly the best type of game you could apply to a TV programme, but I would have thought that in the main you'd say, look, TV programmes do not work as video games. Right, what's happened there? Have I died? Right, try not to fall over that. How can we not? We can't seem to jump. Not pick up. No. I've got no idea. Oh no. All I can say, guys, is I make these videos and play these games so you don't have to. Nobody should ever waste their time playing games like this. I don't think I've ever played a collection of such appalling games in any one video. I've played a few, but Superior Software, I'm looking at you. Yeah, did I blame it's only Superior Software? That was not blame it's only, it's they did what, and most of their games weren't the greatest, but yeah. Ah, dearie me, right, it looks like I've died again. Why do we have to be subjected to this bit every single time? Right, that is god awful as well. That is Grange Hill. Come on, we need something to pick us up. Something that's not going to be pish. Right, come on, Lee Majors, or the $6 million man, or the Fall Guy, as he was known in this. Never watched it now. I think he played the part of a stuntman. I never saw it in the Commodore 64. I'm guessing Elite Software must have got some kind of license. I don't know, was it the same company that made this, that made the Fall Guy, that made Dukes of Hazzard? Not quite sure. Right, I assume I've got to try and run across the tops of the trains. Whilst avoiding a bird. Dearie me. I think somebody was asking me in my waffle last week if I ever played any games that were like so frustrating. Well, I think I've played quite a few of them in this video. I don't know why we've got the start off. Was that the theme tune to the Formula 1? I think it was. I don't know what the name of the tune is. Now, it'd be fine if I could avoid that bird, but he seems to move over me, which means I can't jump. Possibly that's why it's called the Fall Guy, because he's always falling. It's not even funny. Yeah, that is a Fall Guy. That is god awful. Right, next up, Benny Hill's Madcap Chase. Now, Benny Hill was a comedian back in the sort of 60s, 70s and 80s. He sadly died. Oh, he's been dead quite a long time now. Programming graphics by Don Priestley. He was the guy that did Trapdoor. Now, I do know that the graphics in this are enormous, but I've never played it before. Yeah, there you go. You play the part. You play the part of Benny Hill. Oh boy, is it? You press fire button, it goes to that. That's going to be some of the largest graphics you'll ever see in the Spectrum, though. I don't know why it keeps jumping back to the main menu every time you press fire button. Quite a bizarre game. Why anybody would think of making a game based on Benny Hill? Beyond me. Ah, right, okay. I've just sussed that you can jump in and out of the screen. So it's a bit like Little Big Planet. You can be further into the game or you can jump forward. So there's like 3 kind of levels. Oops, a daisy. Yeah, that'll make it a wee bit easier. Watch out. Here we go. Run. Just run behind this wall. Smack. And we're caught. She's jumping up and down her head. An utterly bizarre game. Yeah, that was Benny Hill's Madcap Chase. Right, next one, How to Be a Complete Bastard. After the Young Ones, now I don't know what order it came in. Yeah, I think it was the Young Ones, and then Adrian Edmondson decided this program came out called How to Be a Complete Bastard, and I never actually watched it. and then it was followed by Bottom, which was Adrian Edmondson and Rick Mail, which was really good. But yeah, they've decided to make a game based on this particular program. Now the graphics are just awful. I don't know what you've got to do. I can only assume you've got to be a complete knob end and attack people and just be really annoying. I mean, bastard points, wheel meter, fartometer. I was surprised that it never got banned because of the swearing, because you know, you need to bear in mind this game was it was targeted at kids. Alright, so it appears that I'm playing the part of, I don't know what he's called actually, no idea. But it's got the same hideous menu as the young ones, but the graphics on this are 10 times worse than the young ones. Complete lack of sound as well. I mean, I think there was a lot of companies released absolute tat, you know, just to make money. Whereas nowadays you wouldn't really get away with it. You know, budgets are too big. So at least games now, yeah, you might get a game that's you might not enjoy, but generally I think the quality control of games is so much better. But back in the 80s, you know, we could get one person programming this, and you know, you got absolute tosh like this, just garbage. I think that you'd probably find that this game sold purely on the fact that little teenagers thought that they were being really, really hip and cool buying a game that had the word bastard in it. I've got no idea what I'm supposed to be doing. Not interested. You know, you're playing in complete silence. Terrible game, yeah, right, from one terrible game to another. Now I did feature this next game. What was it? What did I feature it in? Was it a video called Poor Game But Good Music? Possibly, I think it was. Interestingly, this game was actually programmed by a chap called Paul Clancy, who used to work on, he was one of the Zap 64 reviewers. Now, graphically wise, this looks alright, but I do remember the game, it got terrible reviews. I've got no idea what you're supposed to be doing. If you press fire button, you sort of fire. There doesn't appear to be any indication on the screen of what you're actually meant to be doing. If anybody knows what the object of this game is, let me know. Not that I'll be playing it again, but yeah. Music's not bad, it's typical Martin Galway, which is no bad thing. Ooh, it's flashing. Does that mean I've got to chase him possibly? It's not flashing anymore, so I don't know. It could well be. Possibly you've got to chase the car, try and take out the car that's flashing. So anyway, that was Miami Vice. Right, next up was this was a really, really popular TV program back in the 80s called V. Again, I wasn't interested in science fiction at all, so I never ever watched it. But I do know that it was massive at the time. And I did actually buy this because it looked good. This does look really, really nice. But as I'm going to demonstrate here, I didn't have a clue what I was meant to be doing. And again, I don't think it rated particularly highly in Zap. I don't know why I bought it. I remember looking at the back of the cover, I think, or I must have saw a picture somewhere and thinking it looked really good. Yeah, you've got these kind of icons at the bottom right, but I've got no idea what they're supposed to do. Presumably I'm trying to turn off the sort of force field thing so I can then get through the door. I mean, animation of the main character's not bad. It's a fine line, I think, between making a game too simple and making it too complex, and I think this has probably gone too far to the sort of complex. You know, you want to be able to just get into a game and play it, but I've got no idea what you're supposed to do here, because obviously the C64 couldn't really output super high resolution graphics. You know, you can't really have you can't have writing on the screen to tell you what each thing is. I suppose that's where the instructions would come in handy. So yeah, I'm not doing a very good job of demonstrating this game, but I do remember I got bored of it really quickly, and I know Zap didn't think much of it. Right, next one, Question is Sport. Now this program has been running since the mid-70s, and it's still running in 2018, so it's probably been going for what, the best part of 30 years, something like that. I mean, it's changed a lot, the sort of format has changed a lot, but you've still got two teams. You've got like the captains, and you've got two guests on, so there's like 3 in each team. There's been numerous presenters over the years. Was it David Vine, Ron Coleman? Oh, I can't even remember. It's been such a long time. If I'm not mistaken, that's Ron Coleman in the middle, and that's Ian Botham on the left, and Bill Beaumont, who played for England at rugby, on the right hand side. Blah 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 blah. Like I was saying earlier, I don't think home computers are really ideally designed for quiz programs. Question book. Right, okay, so yeah, you've got to, at least this one, you've got different sets of questions. What I'll do is I'll just do a quick jump cut. Right, that took a few minutes to load. The picture board round. Okay, let's see. I don't know how this is going to work because the graphics, it's not going to be able to do it justice. Cars of yellow with a blue stripe are raced by which country? Brazil, is it? Ah, Portugal, of course it is. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not incorrect. That's incorrect. Yellow, is it Belgium? No, Sweden. There you go. Equestrian. Who knows anything about equestrian? I mean, seriously. Oh, I thought equestrian was going to be about horse jumping type thing, but it was basically horses. Right, Ian Botham. Correct, 3 miles. Right, we'll just take a look at this last one then, I think we'll move on. Football. Which football league team play at the Goldstone ground? I've got no idea. Incorrect. And for a bonus point, Bill, can you get it? Right, anyway, that's enough of that. That is Question of Sport. And following on from Elite's sort of quiz games, this is Mike Reed's Computer Pop Quiz. Now, Mike Reed was one of these famous DJs on BBC One. He presented, what was it called, the Saturday Superstore on BBC One, yeah, Saturday morning. And he was quite one of these, he was one of these guys that you didn't like. He was very, very smug. He was the person that famously banned Frankie Goes to Hollywood Relax by saying it was cheeky and it was rude and whatever. And yeah, following Radio 1 banning it, Relax became a massive, massive seller. I'm recognising a few people. There's Michael Jackson at the bottom left. Is that Elvis Costello just above him? Now the guy in the bottom left looks like Gary Barlow. Is that Bono in the bottom right? The one above Gary Barlow on the left looks like Brian Johnston from AC/DC. You can see here it's the same, exactly the same format to what do you call it, Question of Sport. They obviously came up with an engine and thought, yeah, let's port as many quiz games as we possibly can. Right, let's load the questions. So it's the same as the last one. We'll do a wee jump cut and speed it up. There we go. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's the same game. It's the same engine. I've got no idea. Conway Twitty. You just wouldn't get a question like that nowadays. Kids wouldn't have a clue who he was. I don't even know who he was. I've heard of him, but yeah, I don't remember this program running for very long. I mean, I do remember it being on, but I think it may have run for maybe only 1 or 2 series, and that was it. I mean, whereas Question of Sport, like I said, it's still running. It's been going for about 30 years. Again, like I was mentioning about blockbusters, the problem with these quiz programs is, or quiz games I should say, on the 8-bit machines, is the lack of questions. You know, if you played this 2 or 3 times, I'm sure you'd start getting sort of repeat questions. So yeah, that is what was that called again? Mike Reed's Pop Quiz. And the last one. Now I've tried to save the best for last. This is called Split Personalities. Now this game originally was called Spitting Image because it was based on the TV programme that featured kind of foam puppets. Spitting Image was actually really good. It was one of your things that you watched as a family on a Sunday night. It was always on quite late. I think it was 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock on a Sunday night. Now I apologise in advance about me being rubbish. I never really played this game, but I do know that it was really well received. It's kind of similar to these little puzzles that you used to get as a kid, little tiles, and there was a space and you used your finger to kind of flick the blocks to try and build up a picture, and this is kind of similar. All the characters, I mean, you can see there's Ronald Reagan, they were all very 80s figures. So you had Gorbachev, you had Margaret Thatcher, you had, I think Sir Clive Sinclair was in there, I'm sure Alan Sugar excuse me, was in there as well. But this was actually a really good game, if not slightly tough. I never really played it back in the day, that's why I'm pish. But this was actually a good game. You get bombs that you've got these little gates that open the top and bottom and also the side as well. So if you get like a bomb, you've got to try and get rid of it as quickly as possible. But yeah, I think it's how are we doing now? We're about an hour in. I think it's suffice to say that largely games based on TV programs don't work. I mean, the majority of the games I've looked at are just awful, absolutely awful. There's one or two exceptions. This is quite a good game. Airwolf was a good game, albeit too difficult. But you know, you had stuff like Auf Wiedersehen Pet, Minder, just awful, absolutely awful. How they managed to release, why they thought that it deserved a release was beyond me. I can only imagine how pissed off you'd be if you had shelled out money and, you know, got Auf Wiedersehen. Can you imagine getting Auf Wiedersehen Pet for your Christmas? Just absolutely awful. But like I said, yeah, the films, most of the films were really good. I think the secret to films is all about big scenes that people remember, so you've got something to use for a game. But TV programs just run, and why you thought EastEnders would make a good video game is beyond me. But anyway guys, I play these games so you don't have to. I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and as always, thank you very much for watching.